Hi everyone, welcome to my first video here on YouTube. My name is Tim, and today I will be making my Reef Wreck Scuba Pin. The theme of this pin is to capture two aspects of scuba, one being reef diving and the other being wreck diving. First thing I do is to mark my pieces. This is the wood piece that will be the part that you would hold on to when you write, and the cap will be attached to both ends of this piece. The second piece will be the cap of the pin and is made of inlace acrylester. Then we head over to the miter saw to cut our marks, and with this, the inlace acrylester is a bit tougher and it takes a while to cut compared to the wood, which is much softer and cuts a lot faster. Next, we head over to my lathe and bore out these blanks. And one reason I'm using two materials here is, like I said earlier, to capture two aspects of diving, reef and wreck diving. The other is to show how different these materials are, which become more evident in the next step. But basically, the inlace acrylester is more brittle and requires special tools for much more time to do. Now, my lathe doesn't have enough throw to drill all the way through, so I have to adjust the tailstock of the lathe in order to drill all the way through. Now, at the end, we back out the drill and switch out for the wood blank. And unlike the inlace acrylester, I can be a little more aggressive here without fear of splitting the blank, since it is not as aggressive. And we will just fast forward to the end where I will take out the wood and prepare for turning the pin. Now, when it comes to turning pins, I mainly aim to turn a cylinder that will fit the hand well. But to start, I will knock off the piece that was left over from cutting the inlace acrylester. Then I head over to the wood and get the blank to turn from a square shape to a cylinder shape. Then I use a parting tool to transfer the ends to the bushing so that I can get a good pairing when assembling the pin. And to finish the final shape of the pin, I use a round bit. Now, turn over to the inlace acrylester. As I mentioned earlier, I have to use a special tool when turning this so that I don't spend tons of time turning it. Special tool when turning. Well, the round bit that I use doesn't have your normal head. It has what is called a negative rake head. This means the tool has a supported edge due to it having a wedge shape at the end, and therefore does not plow into the material to remove it. Instead, it uses a compressive and shearing action to remove material. Sorry if you didn't need that explanation, but I'm an engineer and I couldn't help myself. The other option to turn this material without a negative rake tool, which I have done before without destroying the material, it will just take twice as long, and the risk of losing the piece is much higher. After I finish shaping both pieces to my liking, I start the sanding process on both pieces. On the wood, I will sand starting at 150 grit, then to 240, 320, 400, and finally I finish with a 600 grit. I also do this same progression for the inlace acrylester. For the inlace acrylester, I will finish the sanding process with a wet sand starting at 1500 grit and then finishing at 12,000 grit after working through 9 different grades. When finishing, for the wood, there are two paths that you can do. The more popular is to use a CA finish, but I find that this takes away from the wood feel and leaves a more plastic feel. So the way I like to finish my wood is through a 3-step process of friction polish, a shellac that can be layered as needed, and then I finish with a wax coating, usually 2 coats of the wax coating. When finishing inlace and acrylester or other acrylics, I will simply polish them by applying the polish, then buffing it off. When assembling the pin, I first take the collar and press it into the pin body. Then, with the scuba head and the tank/clip of the pin, I will press into the cap. The weight belt will be pressed in opposite of the scuba head. The cap will be pressed in opposite of the collar that was in the first part. Then inserting the spring and ink, and we screw the tip onto the pin. Then we can screw the cap over the tip of the pin. And here we have the final products of other scuba pins I made. This top one is a gold with inlace and acrylester. The middle one is a hybrids wood blank, and it's wood with acrylic molded around it and is out in a usable position. And then the last one is the one we just made, where I've taken the 2 pieces apart so that you can see them. This is how I make my scuba pins, and if you liked it, please like and share this video as you will. Thanks again, and my name's Tim. See you next time.